Henry Creel didn't start as Vecna. He started as a boy who killed his family, a boy who showed no remorse, a boy who was eventually turned into Subject 001 in Dr. Brenner's lab. But here's the question that's been haunting fans since Season 4. Was Henry Creel born evil, or did something make him that way? This is the classic debate of nature versus nurture. And when it comes to Vecna, the answer is more disturbing than you think. Today, we're doing a full psychological profile of Henry Creel to determine whether he's a psychopath, a victim, or something in between. Let's break it down. First, let's define psychopathy. In psychology, a psychopath is someone who lacks empathy, displays superficial charm, and feels no guilt or remorse for their actions. They're not insane. They know right from wrong. They just don't care. Psychopathy is largely genetic. Studies show that people with psychopathic traits have differences in their brain structure, specifically in the amygdala, which processes emotions like fear and empathy. This is important because when we look at Henry Creel as a child, he exhibits every single symptom. He tortured animals. He felt no connection to his family. He was fascinated by death. These aren't learned behaviors. These are signs of a neurological difference. Henry wasn't made into a monster. He was wired differently from birth. But here's where it gets complicated. Let's talk about his mother. In Season 4, we learned that Henry's mother, Virginia Creel, suspected something was wrong with her son. She took him to a psychiatrist. She tried to help him, but she also feared him. And fear, especially from a parent, does something to a child's development. Even if Henry was born with psychopathic traits, his mother's rejection likely amplified them. Psychologically, this is called, quote, zero. It's when genetic predisposition meets environmental trauma. Henry didn't just lack empathy. He was also raised in a home where he was treated as a problem, not a person. His father was emotionally distant. His mother was terrified of him. His sister was the, quote, one. Henry was isolated. And isolation is the breeding ground for resentment. Now, let's compare Henry to 11. Both were experimented on by Dr. Brenner. Both were raised in a lab. Both were told they were special. But here's the difference. 11 had Mike. She had Joyce. She had people who saw her as human, not just a weapon. Henry had no one. Brenner saw him as an asset, a tool. And when Henry realized that, he snapped. He killed everyone in the lab except 11. But was that revenge? Or was it proof that he was always capable of mass murder? I think it's both. Henry's psychopathy gave him the capacity to kill without guilt, but his trauma gave him the motive. Let's talk about the philosophy of monsters. There's a famous quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, quote 2. But what if you were never fighting the monster? What if you were the monster all along? Henry Creel didn't become Vecna because of the upside down. The upside down didn't corrupt him. It liberated him. It gave him the power to do what he always wanted, reshape the world in his image. A world without hypocrisy, without false emotions. A world where only the strong survive. Psychologically, this is textbook narcissistic megalomania. Henry believes he's superior to everyone. He sees humans as flawed, weak, pathetic. And he wants to fix them by destroying them. This isn't trauma talking. This is pure psychopathy. But here's the tragic irony. If Henry had been raised differently, could he have been saved? Could therapy, medication, or simply being loved have changed his path? Psychologically, the answer is no. True psychopathy can't be cured. It can only be managed. And management requires the individual to want to change. Henry never wanted to change. Even as a child, he didn't see himself as broken. He saw everyone else as broken. That's the core of his pathology. He doesn't lack self-awareness. He lacks humanity. Here's my theory for Season 5. Vecna isn't just trying to destroy the world. He's trying to prove a point. He wants to show that everyone, deep down, is like him. That under the right pressure, anyone can become a monster. That's why he targets people with trauma. He's not just feeding on their pain, he's testing them, showing them their darkest selves. And when they break, he feels validated. It's not about power, it's about proving that he was right all along. That humans are weak, and that he is the only honest one. So, was Henry Creel born evil? Yes. But was he also failed by everyone around him? Also yes. Nature loaded the gun, nurture pulled the trigger. And the result is the most terrifying villain Stranger Things has ever created. Because Vecna isn't just a monster, he's a mirror. And what he reflects back at us is the uncomfortable truth that evil doesn't always have a reason. Sometimes it just is. What do you think? Could Henry have been saved? Or was he always destined to become Vecna? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know the wildest theory about Eddie Munson's return, click this video right here.